It's 2024, and if you're a man who wants to level up and become the best version of yourself, I decided that I'm going to do something a little bit different. I know I ain't been posting in a while, so I thought I'd hit you up with a video. This might be like 30, 40 minutes, so grab your popcorn, because I'm going to talk about everything that I believe a man needs to do to become the best version of himself. Now, I'm nearly going to be 30, so I thought about all the years in my life, my young days, getting a little bit older, and what I realized as I got older is that age doesn't make you any smarter, because there's men that I know now in their 30s and 40s and 50s that are dumb as shit. So I'm going to do things a little bit different in this video. It won't be nothing fancy, no crazy editing, but I really want to show you how you can become the very, very, very best version of yourself. So I've got a few slides. I'm going to make myself small. Let's get into it, because I genuinely think that if you follow this, you could have the best year of your life. You could have the best year of your life. So let's get into it. All right, so the 360 guide to level up as a man in 2024. And there's a picture of me in quite good shape. I got the veins popping out, bloody hell. Anyway, let's get started. I broke this down into 8 sections. So we're really going to dive into some value here. And the very first thing is you need to build muscle. I know that sounds dumb, like, oh, if I build muscle, I'm going to be a man. But you do. And the reason I say this is, all the data is showing us that testosterone levels are decreasing year after year. Male sperm count is decreasing year after year. Men are physically weaker than they were 30, 40, and 50 years ago. Therefore, if you want to stay a top percenter, you need to build muscle. So a lot of people think that building muscle is hard. It's not. And I'm not even saying that building muscle is going to make you more of a man. But if you're struggling, going to the gym is one of the best things you can do for yourself. So go to the bloody gym, okay? And start basic. Lift weights 4 to 6 times a week. That's not that much. 45 minutes to an hour of exercise, get in, get out. Simple as that. And then track everything you lift. I think the biggest problem that people have when it comes to training exercise is they don't really track anything. I see so many guys going to the gym and they're just willy-nilly in it. They're just doing some nonsense. They're doing some bullcrap. Like, that's not going to get you to where you need to get to. So my advice for you is make sure you track everything you lift to ensure that you're getting success. You can't wish and hope for success. You need to guarantee it. And the only way to guarantee it is by doing the bloody work. So track every single weight that you lift. The next thing you need to do is push harder every month or 2. I see too many guys going to the gym, firstly, not tracking. Then secondly, they don't actually ever try to go up in weight. They just stay the same weight that they've been lifting the whole time. So my advice is to make sure that you try and push it a little bit harder every single month. That might mean adding 2.5 kilos to the bar. It might mean adding 5 kilos to the bar. It doesn't matter how much weight it is. I just want you to try. You just have to try. Try a little bit harder. And that way you know you're going to build more muscle. And then don't overcomplicate it. A lot of guys go to the gym and they want to do this complicated stuff that they saw on YouTube or TikTok. No, keep it simple. Do your basic bodyweight stuff, push-ups, pull-ups, bench press, squatting, deadlifting. Like, keep it simple. If you want to get more complex, make sure you get a coach. But you don't even need a coach. A coach is great, maybe to get started, but then you can go on your own. And a lot of people, they just get this wrong. A lot of guys get this wrong. Now, I'm not saying that, again, building muscle is going to turn you into a better man. But I want you to think of it like this. Men who are physically strong and capable, they get noticed. If you walk in a room and you're scrawny, you're underweight, you're skinny, you ain't even got no biceps, you ain't getting noticed. Alternatively, if you're extremely overweight and, you got man boobs, you got a double chin, you're going to have some difficulties in your life too. So I personally feel like building the foundations to your body is one of the most important things that you can do as a man. And I'm willing to debate and argue with anybody who disagrees. Okay. And you might even notice, have you noticed guys like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and even Mark Zuckerberg's getting into his MMA? Like, everyone's trying to get fit. Even the billionaires with loads of money who are busy as hell, they're getting fit because they know that having a strong physique is very, very important as a man. Okay. And I would argue to the death with anybody who disagrees with that. And the last bit is can't get my words out. And the last bit is to fuel your training properly. I want to add one more thing to that, actually, because as well as fueling your training, you should learn to fight. And I forgot to put that in there. I think every man should learn to fight. I'm not saying to be violent. I'm saying to be capable of violence. And that is different, okay? Because you should learn to be able to protect yourself, your family, your mother, your sisters, your kids, your wife. I personally think every man should learn a combat sport. I learned how to do kickboxing in the last 2 years, and it's one of the best things I did for myself. And I still feel like a baby every time I train because I'm just learning new skills all the time. So every man should be capable of violence, but I don't believe you should always utilize violence, okay? And that's a difference, okay? So learn how to fight, man. Okay, next bit, nutrition. I'm going to keep this one really simple. But you should be learning how to fuel your body properly in all areas, okay? You may see guys like James Smith, Eddie Abu, all these famous fitness guys talking about how to eat, what to eat. It gets confusing after a while because everyone has their own stance. Keto, paleo, Atkins, no carb, low carb, whatever you want to do, do it, but do it properly. And in my opinion, I like to keep things simple, man. Simplicity wins the race. So eat 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. If I weigh 100 kilos, I'm going to eat 200 kilos of protein, 200 grams of protein. Okay? It's quite simple. I will eat 200 grams of protein. Stop drinking alcohol. This is hard for a lot of guys. But if you are fat, overweight, why are you drinking alcohol? I get it. Society tells you drinking beer is cool. Have a few drinks with the lads. Stop it. I don't care what society told you. That don't matter to me. You want to win, you want to be a winner, you have to give up all this alcohol every single week, drinking with your mates, beer and beer here. Forget beer. Stop drinking it. Okay? You can have a drink, special occasions only, weddings, birthdays. All right? You can't be drinking every week. No. You can't level up like that. I'm sorry. Sugar and sweets, only 1 to 2 times a week, okay? Simple as that. Don't overcomplicate it. Too much sugar as a man, guess what it does? It F's up your body fat. Guess what F'ing up your body fat does? It F's up your testosterone. And if you ain't got testosterone, the missus won't love you. You won't be able to get it up anymore, and you'll be struggling, okay? So sugar and sweets 2 times a week. Avoid too much oils. A lot of vegetable oil, stuff like that. It's not good for you, man. It's not good for you. It clogs you up. It makes you sluggish. It makes you slow. You can't think straight. You don't perform properly. All right? And if you want to perform at your very, very best, that ain't going to cut it for you. Drugs, man. Say no to drugs. I'm sorry. Even weed, bro. I'm sorry. And I got lots of people in like that I know very well. But I'm telling you, scrap the weed. That stuff ain't good for you. It ain't making you level up. All right. And people say, oh, well, what about the celebrities that smoke weed? Yeah, they're a dime a dozen. There's more normal people than celebrities. So the celebrities that do smoke weed, they are an anomaly. You cannot compare yourself to them. Weed is not going to level you up. I promise you that. And I ain't even getting mad at weed. I'm just saying all drugs in general. So weed is just one of them. So stop doing drugs. Weed, cocaine, ketamine, I don't even know, crack, anything. Stop. Stop today. Give it up. Give it a rest, okay? Fast food. My advice, try and keep the fast food to once a week maximum. And I mean like McDonald's and all that kind of stuff. I don't mean like high-class restaurants. If you're doing like a fancy restaurant, sometimes the food is actually healthy. So McDonald's, Burger King, all that kind of stuff. And lastly, don't go vegan, man. There ain't no real strong man out there who's vegan. I know there's a couple powerlifters, but don't go vegan, man. It's not good for you, bro. Anyway, step 3, find your purpose. I love this, man. This is where I want to get into my bag right now. Find your purpose, man. And the reason I say this is because, you know, life is hard, bro. Like, life is hard. As a whole, it's difficult. We got all these things we got to do. We got to pay bills. We got to look after kids. We got to look after our partner. We got to look after our family members. We have to work our jobs. We have to travel. We have to do all these things that we want to do. Plus, we want to look after ourselves. But if you don't have a purpose, you will not be able to do this to the best of your ability. So the very first thing I actually say is get a mentor. Get someone who's going to show you the ropes. You can pay them. Maybe you might know someone that can do it for free, but get a mentor. Get a mentor. I promise you, you'll be surprised. I think that will make a huge difference to your life. Get a mentor, man. Quit the job that you hate. This is a tough one for me to write because I haven't worked a job in 5 years, 4.5 years. So for me, quitting is something that I don't like to say. I don't even like to use that word. But I think that for a lot of you out there, a lot of guys out there, you're working jobs that you don't even like, and you're doing it because it pays the bills. You know, you have to do it. Like, that's the situation that you've been put in. And it's a society thing. I think that is very societal because, you know, you're going to die one day. Like, you're going to die one day, bro. Like, and when you die, like, no one's going to give a shit that you worked a job that you hated. My advice is do your very best to find a way to quit the job that you hate right now. Because life is short. You know, I've actually, in my daily journal, it says how many days left. And the average man dies at 82. I want to live to at least 90. That's what I told myself. So I've got about 20,000 days left or so, something like that. So I literally knock down the days each day. It's morbid, but it's the reality. You are going to die one day. And you got to be comfortable knowing that you did everything you could. So if you're in a job you hate, fucking get rid of it and get out of there. Okay? In my opinion. Get into an industry you love or start your own business. So some people are not built to run their own business, which is fine. I think there's a misconception that everyone has to be a business owner and self-employed. No, actually, life can actually be easier if you work for someone else. But if you love what you do, it's worth it. So get in an industry you love or start your own business. One of the two, okay? But don't do shit that you don't want to do, man. Life is short. It's short. You're going to die one day, bro. So that's all I got to say. Spend more time alone, which is going to contradict my next slide. But spend time alone. These are the things that I like to do. Float tank. I try to do a float tank 2 times a year. It's about half an hour or hour where you're just in water, floating on water. It's kind of nuts. I like it, though. Or the unplugged cabin. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but in the UK, there's something called unplugged. I did it for 3 days where you're just in a cabin in the woods. It's kind of mad, but you need to spend time alone. There's benefits to being alone. You get some of your best ideas. You think of new ideas. You get more creative. You think about what you really want out of life. You start to understand what's going on around you. You think deeply about the issues that you're facing as a human being and as a man. And you can start to plan and game plan your future, which for me is very important, especially as an adult. You know, I'm not a kid anymore. Like, those days are over. I still feel young, but I'm not going to be young forever. So in my opinion, I think that you need that time alone to really game plan. And when you're always with people, you don't get to cut through the noise. Because when you're with people, there's so much noise all the time, man. It's just too much noise. So, yeah. Spend some time alone. The next thing is to meditate and pray. Now, you don't have to pray if you're not into religion and you're not religious at all. Don't pray, but meditate, man. And meditation is different for everybody. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with meditating, journaling, things like that. But I think when I get the time to, I basically just meditate like 5-10 minutes, and it's just for me, my meditation is like a deep, quiet, like, thought where I'm trying to empty my mind as hard as possible. I'm trying to just like empty my thoughts consistently, which is difficult, but it's going to help you, man. So meditate, because meditating allows me to really find my purpose and get closer to who I really am, which I think is a lifelong journey. But if I could get close to that, then that's what I want to do. And then, this is going to sound a bit nuts, but if you're a man, you got to stop sleeping around, bro. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I think over the last year and a half, I think I've tried to make a more concerted effort to just kind of keep myself to myself in the best way possible. And it's helped me a lot. Like, just kind of mentally just feel a bit fresher. And you know, you might get drawn into temptation every now and then, but I genuinely believe if you're a man and you choose to stop being frugal with your energy, your life force, I do think there's benefits to it. So no one's perfect. I'm not sitting here telling you I'm perfect, but I would say if you're a man, stop sleeping around. It will make a difference to your life. I believe so. I believe so. Improving your social life. Now, this is a big one for me because I spend so much time alone. I spend a lot of time here working. I see my friends at least 1 or 2 times a month. Obviously, family. So, for me, improving my social life is a big one. And I think for guys, it's important too. You know, men are getting more and more lonely. Like, they're the loneliest they've ever been. So your social life is way more important than you think, especially because of how lonely men are. Men are the loneliest they've ever been in the modern world, in modern society. So, and that's really due to the internet, to be honest. Like, the internet has kept people at home and in, you know, the pandemic. So it is what it is. Pick the right friends, man. That's really important. Like, pick the right people in your life. Pick the people that are going to live up to the expectations and the standards that you set for yourself. Cut off old ties. People that don't fit your agenda. Maybe you got friends that they got into drugs and weed and they're drinking all the time. Now, I'm not saying to get rid of them in a way that you don't try to help them. You need to, a good friend helps people, so you need to try and help them. But if it's someone that's draining you, if they're draining your life force, cut off those kind of people. You know, you want to help them as best as you can. Be a leader to them. But if they're not getting on board, they're not on the gravy train, see you later. Don't follow the crowd. You know, don't follow people that are not going to help you. Like, be around people that are either going to help you, show you something. And, you know, sometimes be around people that are not going to show you anything. It's okay. If they give you something and joy in your life, that's okay too. But don't stick around people that, you know, don't follow the crowd, man. It's important, man. Like, I like people that do things on their own 2 feet, and that's really important. Find new friends. I'm not going to lie to you. Being an adult, it's hard to find friends. But it's usually down to not having good habits and any hobbies. So my advice is to get a hobby. I mentioned learning how to fight. Jiu-jitsu is a great place. Kickboxing, Muay Thai, swimming, painting, whatever you enjoy. If you find a hobby, it's going to be easier for you to find new friends. Not just getting on a dating app or, you know, like, actually go out into the world. Go to bars, go to clubs, go meet people. It's difficult. I know that now, especially as an adult now in this 2024. But you have to do it, man. Drinking and smoking is for losers. Stop doing it. Don't do it. Like, limit it. If you have to, just limit it to once a month. Like, don't do it too much. And elevate your way of thinking. This is more of like a lifelong pursuit. But for me, I think that if you can continually find ways to improve your mindset, then it will be easier for you to improve your social life. That's really how I view it. It's a process, but you need to start thinking better. Like, okay, every time you do things, how can I do this better? How can I become a better person? How can I show up for other people in my life in better ways? These are key questions because everything around you is going to be based on your level of... Everything around you is going to be based on your standards, you know? And if you don't elevate your level of thinking, then your life is going to be limited to the standards that you accept. Family life. So I've always been family orientated, but I think as I got older, I realized how important family was to me. Your family is everything. Now, if you don't have family, I understand that. Some people literally don't have family. You've been abandoned, orphans, you know, maybe you've had family, but they've just treated you very, very badly. If you don't have family, firstly, I understand that and I feel for you, but make one. And I mean it, like, make one. You can make family out of your best friends. You can make family out of having a family. Like, make one, okay? And don't neglect relationships. This is something that I am very aware of at the moment, at this time in life, is like, I need to stay in touch with my sisters, my brother, you know, my dad. Like, I've got to keep these relationships going because I never know who's going to go. And last year I had a lot of death, not personally, but people I knew, close friends. Like, there was a lot of death last year for me. So that even heightened the importance of this for me. So set aside time to see those family members, you know, like, even me, like right now, I haven't been to my sister's house in a long time, but I've seen them. But for me, I want to try and make sure that I'm seeing my family on a regular basis. So set aside time in your diary. Literally put it in your diary. And yeah, don't wait until someone passes to connect, because for me, this is the worst thing that can happen. Like, you wait until like someone's passed away before, you know, you make that connection, man. And bury all your grudges. Now, I do understand. I know people that have had some very serious incidents with family members, and I'm not going to get into it, but you can imagine, you know, taken advantage of and things like that. So those things, you can't bury that. I'm sorry. Someone takes advantage of you, you know, yeah, you're going to bury them before you bury that grudge. I understand that. But if it's things that at the end of the day, you know, family squabbles and stuff like that, you know, if we can get over it, let's go over it. Don't let money get in between you and your family. You know, don't let external relationships like brother-in-laws, sisters-in-laws, like, don't let that get in the way, like, your family at the end of the day. So bury all your grudges, man, as best as you can. Dating. Now, this is very important for literally everybody in the world because everyone dates to some capacity. So my advice is to leave relationships that don't serve you. The biggest mistake you can make is staying in a relationship that does not serve you. And I think the last 2 years have been a very interesting journey for me personally because, you know, I was never in a serious, committed, long-term relationship in those last 2 years, but I was definitely close to one, I think. And I think that actually it ending in the way that it did gave me, I don't want to say it gave me a red pill moment because I'm not red pilled or blue pilled, but it definitely woke me up in a different kind of way because I've always been reserved. I don't give too much away. And in this occasion, I felt like I gave a lot away, which in hindsight, maybe I could have just maybe behaved a little bit differently. But I think that, like, what you need to do now is you need to put yourself in positions that serve you. And I think for me now, like the last year has been a really good time for me when it comes to dating. And a lot of men, you know, let's not shy away from this. A lot of men, people think that men aren't romantic. I think men are more romantic than women. Men are like hopeless romantics though. And all the data shows you that men suffer more in divorce, which kind of makes me think that men are actually a lot more emotional creatures than we let off. So, yeah, man, don't stay in relationships that don't serve you because it can really affect you. Stop chasing women. A lot of men love chasing gal. Don't chase women, okay? I promise you, like, and this is something that I probably stopped doing at about 20 or 21. I stopped chasing women. And even if a woman thought I was chasing her, I might have just been playing. Like, don't chase women, man. Trust me. I personally think that there's no benefit to it. Like, let the women that are meant to be in your life, they'll be around. If they're not meant to be in your life, don't chase them, okay? Because when you chase, you're on the back foot. And I don't like to be on the back foot, okay? Be intentional. So, and I don't mean that every woman you date you have to marry or whatever, but, like, be intentional in the way that you approach things. If you're just trying to have fun, be upfront about it. Don't lie about it. Like, I think for me, if I'm having fun, I'm honest about it. If I think it's serious, I'm honest about it. I don't need to lie about that. And I think that it kind of gives you that energy that people respect. Yo, this is not a serious thing. You cool with that? Okay, cool. This is a serious thing. I want to move forward. You happy with that? Like, it's business. I treat it like business because I have to be honest about it. So honesty is the policy always. Don't give away too much too early. It never ends well. Especially, like, it's not your duty to be giving your heart up in the first 2 weeks of seeing somebody. Like, that's not cool. And then my advice is every man on the planet should read No More Mr. Nice Guy by an author named Robert Glover. Dr. Robert Glover. I think he's a doctor. Honestly, probably my favourite book at the moment. And then set your standards and remove people that don't meet it. I personally think, yeah, you need to stop looking for people that you have all these things in common with because that doesn't matter. The next thing is that if someone doesn't meet what you want, if you don't want a woman that's overweight, don't date women that are overweight. If you don't want a woman that's skinny, don't date women that are skinny. If you don't want a woman that has her lips done, don't date women with their lips done. You need to date people that meet your standards. And if that means you go on less dates or you date less people, it is what it is, okay? I'm not saying you shouldn't try other things, but, you know, stick to what you want. You got to go for what you want in life. So that's okay. Don't settle. We went through dating. Alcohol and drugs. I kind of touched on this a little bit, but I'll wrap this up in a quick way. So ultimately, alcohol and drugs are not doing anything for you. And I will argue to the death that if you give up alcohol and drugs, you will perform 10 times better, your life will improve, you will improve, you'll have a clearer mind state, and you'll get more done, okay? I've never benefited from drinking alcohol. I've never felt better from drinking alcohol. Yeah, I've enjoyed the moment with a few drinks and a couple shots, but I've never actually improved my life by drinking alcohol. I've never improved a circumstance by drinking alcohol, okay? So, if you can't control it, don't do it. It's that simple. If you can't control your drink, don't drink, okay? If you can't control your drugs, don't do it. If you can control it, limit it. If you can control it, limit it to special occasions only. Birthdays, weddings, parties, funerals, whatever it may be, that's when you can do it. If you live like that, you will perform so much better. But don't ever do drugs. And if you've done drugs, stop taking drugs. In my opinion, losers take drugs, okay? At all levels. I don't even care. I don't care what it is. You took a pill. Stop it. You don't need to. You want to perform at your best every day. You don't need to. And I'm not saying that, okay, like, nah, I'm going hardline on this. Stop taking drugs. Stop it. Okay? And get help if you need it. So, I know I said all of this, but, like, at the end of the day, some people have addictions. So I'm not saying that, oh, you just stop, like, you know. But I would say get help if you really need it. Like, get help from somebody. There is, you know, services out there. Some of them are even free. Get help, man, because in my opinion, you know, if you really want to level up in your life and get to where you want to get to, like, drugs is not going to be the way. And this is my last slides. I think we're at, half an hour? This is going to be a long YouTube video. I think the hardest thing to find in your life is happiness, like real happiness. I think that it's a lifelong pursuit. But these are some things that I would put in place to try and find that happiness. And one of them for me is, you know, stop chasing external validation. Like, stop trying to impress other people and get other people on board with you. Like, you can't be happy if your happiness is determined by what other people think of you. Do you understand? Because their thoughts of you shouldn't dictate your worth or how you feel about yourself. That's an impossible position to be in. So don't chase it. Now, this is a bit of a, you know, people will argue with me on this, but my advice is, as a man, you need to chase financial excellence so that you can put yourself in the best possible position to be happy. Now, we all know, or we would argue that money doesn't make you happy. I would agree to some extent. But I would say that I'd rather be crying in a Benz than a broken down Toyota. So when I say that, I'm not saying that you chase money at all costs, but I am saying that you need to put yourself in a position where you can afford to live the kind of life you want to live. And if we're being honest, in today's society, in the world we're in, if you are in a big modern city, there's a certain level of income you need to just survive. London, New York, wherever you are in the world, LA, Miami, you know, like any big city, Madrid, like Toronto, like you've got to have bread. If you ain't got the cheddar, you're not going to enjoy your life. So, and I'm not even saying you got to ball out, like have a Mercedes and be eating at the top restaurant. I'm just saying if you want to even enjoy basic shit, like going on holiday 2 times a year, like, you know. So one thing you need to do is analyze what actually makes you happy on a weekly basis. Like, I have a journal on my phone. I used to write notes, but I just wouldn't do it consistently. So I journal. I've started doing that on a daily basis. And the question it says is, put 3 things you're grateful for. And I start to think about the things that bring me more joy. And once I've worked out what those things are, I now think about doing more of the above. Because once I work out what actually brings me joy, like, okay, every time I go out to eat with my friends, I feel more pumped up. My mind state's in a better place. Okay, let me try and make sure I go out to eat with my friends at least once a week. That's something I enjoy to do. Okay, cool. So now I've got that baseline of what I enjoy. It makes my life easy. And then share the happiness with others, man. I think some people, they're happy and they keep it all to themselves. They're just selfish with their happiness. Like, share that energy with other people. I promise you, you'll be surprised. It takes you a long way, man. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And you know, if you're a guy and you want to level up in 2024, you know, these are things you need to start thinking about, man. Your life is a short one. It's a very short one. You know, men, we live to 80 and then we die. So, you know, I think to myself, how can I make the most out of what I've got left? Because it's not long. And, you know, sitting in jobs you hate, dating people you don't even love, being in toxic relationships, you know, not chasing excellence, being physically frail. Like, these are things that you have the power to control. So, you know, take action on it. And I really mean it. Like, take action. Don't sit and let the time pass you by. Okay, hopefully you found this useful. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is not like my usual videos, but I thought I'd come here and give you some gems. And we got more to come. We're gonna try and bring this YouTube channel back to where it used to be regular videos, but I thought because I've been away for so long, I'd hit you with a very, very long video, giving you some value on what we're going to be delivering on this channel in the next couple of months. Just pure value, you know, workout tips, exercise tips, mindset tips, stuff about just being the best version of yourself, because that's what we're in this game for, man. Anyway, love, peace, and respect. Blessings.